Call your next witness, please.
Thank you. Kamal calls Amy Bevins.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Amy Bevins, AMYBEVINS,
And your date of birth?
8/22/90.
Do you live in Connecticut?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
I'm a licensed behavior analyst, but I specialize primarily in early intervention for young children with autism.
How long have you been doing that?
6 years. I was a special education teacher before that for a long time as well.
Do you know Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
How do you know her?
We have been friends for almost 29 years.
So you met her when you were children?
Yes.
Did you go to school together?
Elementary school.
And after that?
All the way up through middle school and high school as well.
Did you keep in touch with Lindsay when you went off to college?
Yes.
I'm assuming you didn't go to the same college, right?
No.
Do you know where Lindsay went?
Quinnipiac University.
How did you keep in touch?
Through texts, phone calls. We visited each other at each other's campuses.
And then when Lindsay went to nursing school, did you still stay in touch at that point in time?
Yes.
And how did you do that? The same way, like text visits?
Yes. I also lived in Boston at the same time that she was in nursing school up in Boston.
So was your contact more frequent while she was in nursing school versus when she was in college?
I can't remember the exact amount of contact, but I would say we were always in contact together, yes.
Okay. While Ms. Clancy was in nursing school, did she ever tell you that she was taking some mental health medication?
I can't recall.
Did she ever tell you that she was struggling with anxiety or anything like that while in nursing school?
Nothing that I can recall.
And after she was finished with nursing school, did the two of you still remain in touch?
Yes.
And how often would you see her?
I moved back home to Connecticut, so whenever she was able to visit home, we would stay in touch. I traveled to Boston not very frequently, but I would visit her there as well.
Did you have a text chain going between the two of you?
Yes.
And did you also have a group text with other friends from Connecticut that you both grew up with that you would participate in?
Yes.
How often would you text with Lindsay?
Pretty frequently. It depended on, I think, the point in life that we were at, but I would say there was regular communication.
Growing up with Lindsay and knowing her into adulthood, how would you describe her general demeanor?
She was pretty a calm person. She was nice and had a very calm approach to herself.
During that time that you knew her and would interact with her, did you ever notice any changes in her pattern of speech or rate of speech?
No.
Was she pretty consistent in her behavior and speech patterns throughout the years that you knew her?
Yes.
After Miss Clancy had Cora, were you still in contact with her at that time?
Yes.
And just to kind of get it out of the way, were you in contact with her all the way up through January of 2023?
Yes.
And so after she had Cora, did you notice any changes in her demeanor?
No.
Did you notice any changes in her behavior?
No.
Did you notice any changes in her speech patterns?
No.
After she had Dawson, did she talk to you about that delivery and how that went?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about that?
That was more of a difficult delivery than the one she had with Cora, that she would maybe need to take some time to recover prior to thinking about having a third child.
And during that time, after she had Dawson, did you notice any changes in her behavior?
No.
Or her demeanor?
No.
Her speech pattern?
No.
Was there anything about your interactions with Lindsay during that time that caused you to have concern about her harming herself or someone else?
No.
And then after she gave birth to Callan, did you notice a change in her demeanor at that time?
No.
Or her behavior or rate of speech?
No.
Did you see her in Connecticut in November of 2022?
Yes.
And why did you see her then? What was happening?
She had traveled down to Connecticut. We had gotten together as a group to go out to breakfast.
And had she come to Connecticut alone or with her family?
Alone, I believe, at that time.
You said you went out to breakfast?
Yes.
Was this with that whole group of friends and spouses and everyone that kept in contact from Connecticut?
Yes, there was a group of us there that had all remained friends.
Did you notice anything about her demeanor or behavior at that breakfast in November of 2022 that caused you concern or was different than her typical behavior?
No.
Did you have some text conversations in January of 2023 about some issues that Lindsay was having?
Yes.
Do you recall when those messages started?
I don't recall the exact date of the messages, but it was only, I believe, one night.
In terms of what happened on January 24th, 2023, how close in time was it to that?
Can you repeat the question?
So in terms of January 24th, 2023, when the children were killed, how close in time were your text messages to that incident?
Only a few days.
Okay. And what was that text conversation?
She had shared that she had been taking a medication that caused her to have some dark thoughts, but that she was going to or had been tapering off that medication and was trialing new ones that would remove those side effects and be more helpful and therapeutic to what she needed.
And did she tell you what those dark thoughts were?
No.
What was the tone of the conversation?
Hopeful, I would categorize it. I remember it being something where there was conveying of hope and that it was going to be we were moving in a positive direction.
So basically, would it be fair to say that Lindsay was telling you that she'd had some side effects and some dark thoughts because of medication, but was weaning off of those and moving on to something else that would hopefully help her?
Yes.
Did she ever express at any point that she wanted to harm herself?
No.
Did she ever express that she wanted to harm the children?
No.
Did she ever tell you that she was hearing voices?
No.
Other than saying that she had had some bad thoughts, did she say anything else that was concerning in that conversation?
No.
I want to direct your attention to March of 2023. Did you visit Miss Clancy while she was at the Spaulding Rehabilitation Facility?
Yes.
And how was that arranged?
At the request of one of her family members who reached out to see if I would like to come visit.
You traveled to Massachusetts and visited Lindsay at the Spaulding Rehab Center, is that right?
Yes.
And what did you do there with Lindsay that day?
We made small talk. We played Uno. It was pretty basic visit.
When you say you made small talk, what did she talk about?
I remember her asking about my daughter. I remember her asking about any updates to life events for our friends. We talked about some hobbies that she was doing while at Spaulding and then played a game.
Do you remember what hobbies she was doing at Spaulding?
I can't recall specifically now.
At any point in time, did she mention the death of her children?
No.
At any point in time, did she break down in tears and cry about her children?
No.
What was her affect during that meeting?
I don't remember exactly. Neutral, I would say.
Did she attempt at any point to harm herself?
No.
Did she ask you for help in harming herself?
No.
Did she talk about Cora, Dawson, or Callan at all?
No.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Ray, you're nervous. Don't be. Okay. You guys go back how far?
Almost 29 years.
And over those 29 years, knowing Lindsay when you guys were in grammar school, I guess, and high school, and then you went off to college and you had your families and your marriages, Tell us what your opinion was of her as a person.
I knew her as a good person, a good friend, a good mom.
And you had occasion to see her with her kids and how she acted with her kids, Cora, up till Callan.
Yes.
And did you ever observe anything out of the ordinary, or did she appear to be a loving person and taking care of her kids?
I never saw anything out of the ordinary.
The district attorney asked you about the visit that you had when you were good enough to visit with her at Spaulding Rehab. And this was when, in March of 23?
Yes.
And arrangements had to be made for you to visit with her. You had to get approval, and whether you know or not, I mean, I had to kind of help you out a little bit trying to get through the red tape to get in there to see her, along with her family approval and that type of thing, right?
I don't recall any of that.
But you were able to get in
Yes.
to visit with her. And this would have been in the beginning of March, if you know, the middle of March, the end.
I don't recall the exact time.
Was she able to walk around and ambulate, or was she in a wheelchair, or what was her condition? Was she in bed?
She was in a wheelchair. She was sitting up the entire visit.
Did you ask her about why she was in the wheelchair and anything like that?
No.
You knew that she had been in the hospital from January 24th, right?
Yes.
And you knew that your friend had been charged by the police and had killed her 3 beautiful children, right?
Yes.
That was a bit of an awkward, uncomfortable topic, wasn't it?
I think it would be for anybody, yes.
Absolutely. And the district attorney asked you whether or not she cried and whether or not she told you about her children and anything to do with her children or that incident. You both basically stayed away from that entire subject, right?
I remember also being told not to bring that up specifically, which at the time I figured that could be due to the recommendation of mental health providers, et cetera, who were treating her.
Right. And who told you that?
Her sister.
Now, how long did you visit with her?
It's brief, maybe 30 to 45 minutes.
That's all I have. Wait a minute. Did you guys have a group get together in December of 2022, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Do you recall seeing her after Thanksgiving around that time frame in December of 22?
I don't recall no.
Do you recall having conversations with her around that time frame, which would be in December of 2022, that she was talking to you about medications and asking you questions about particular medication?
I don't recall the exact time frame of those conversations.
Okay. You were summoned here today by the DA's office, is that correct?
Yes.
You were also on my witness list as well, right?
Yes.
And when I ask you about the conversations, the reason is you were questioned by the state police back in January of 23. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And one of the troopers had asked you whether or not you had any conversations with Lindsay, your friend, about medications, and you indicated that, and I quote, page 12, she knows that I'm pretty open about mental health, that I'm a big advocate of mental health, and she asked me if I knew, like you know, if I had tried a medication. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Does that refresh your memory at all as to approximately what time, when that was? Would that have been in December of 22, after Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I still don't recall the exact time, but I do remember that being a conversation that we had.
Okay. Do you remember where you had the conversation?
It was over text message.
Okay. Do you recall her asking you what your experience was? Because you had some knowledge of medications, correct?
As a patient.
Okay. And as a result of that and being close and good friends, that she had asked you what your experience was. And again, it's page 13. And she would say, how was your experience? Did you ever take this? What was your experience with this? That type of thing. Do you remember that? That conversation?
I don't recall this specific conversation.
Do you recall the medication that she asked you about?
Yes.
What was that?
I remember it being Lexapro.
Do you recall in your text message exchange that she had asked you about or told you about some of the medications that she was taking and that there were some difficulties with it?
Yes.
Remember that she had asked you whether or not you had noted or if you were aware of any side effects of medications?
I don't recall.
And after those text threads and with that understanding, being as close to Lindsay as you were, she then confided in you that she was having dark thoughts, as I think was the expression.
That was a long time after the conversation that we had had about the medication. I do remember that being the first time I had heard any concern around her mental health up until that point.
Okay, and what point was that, if you remember?
Can you restate the question?
Sure. Let me ask it this way. When she told you that she was having problems or difficulties with the medication and she was telling you that she was having dark thoughts, do you remember when that was?
Towards the end of January 2023.
Okay. Do you remember, was that in person or was that a message, text message?
Over text message.
Did she explicate or did she explain what the dark thoughts were?
No.
And the next time you saw her after that was at the hospital rehab, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, ma'am. May Stefka.